So we are currently deep inside of our first project of our Woodworking for Beginners series, where we're building a toolbox behind me there on the bench, made completely from Harbor Freight tools that cost us under $100. While we did get a lot of the basic tools that we needed, there were some tools that we didn't either think of at the time to get, one of which was a hand plane. Harbor Freight does sell two different styles of hand planes, but we decided, nope, these aren't any good. We wound up going with one from Amazon Basics. However, during this project, we did discover we're missing a few key items. So I went back to Harbor Freight the other day and got some extra stuff. So the first item up on our list is this 12-foot measuring tape from Pittsburgh. It's perfect. It's actually everything you need right there. If you're building stuff like us, where we're building furniture, small projects, things like that, you don't need a 25-foot long measuring tape. Honestly, for almost anything you need to build, woodworking wise with this, a 12-foot tape is more than enough. Everything's imperial system on it. And then there is below, if you can see at the bottom of the tape, it does have the actual fractal delegations. So it does have the obviously inch marks in it, and it does have the fractions down below as well, if you need that or help you with figuring out where those are at. A lot of people will say, hey, there could be a difference between the scale on cheaper measuring tapes than larger ones. It doesn't matter. You can get the cheapest tape out there. You can get one that's a whole ½ inch off. It could say 1 inch and it's 1.5 inches, right? As long as you use the same measuring device throughout the entire project, it doesn't matter. With traditional woodworking, you usually will see things like wooden rulers that like kind of fold out, or metal rulers used a lot. We could do that. Harbor Freight does have some options for like longer metal rules. If you prefer to do something like that, you can. I just prefer the compactness. It'll fit in our box of just a measuring tape. Like I said, there is slop in the end of a measuring tape, and that's to account for saw kerf on table saw. It doesn't matter. As long as you use it in the same manner all the time and you're measuring properly, this is all you need. $2.99, first item up, just a cheap old measuring tape. Works great. It's got a little lock on it, got a little belt clip if you want it, and a little fancy lanyard thing. Pittsburgh quick find tape measure. I try not to use screws or nails in my projects. However, it's just not possible. Well, I won't say it's not possible, but it will be a lot easier for you if you eventually do use screws or nails of some type, right? If we do get finished nails or something that we need to put in little tiny brads or something, we could use, or we will use, our hammer. We do have a metal side of our mallet. We could use that to drive in nails. However, we don't have a good solution for screws. I found this 4-in-1 screwdriver at Harbor Freight as well. So it's made by Pittsburgh. It's got everything you're going to ever need to put screws in as we're doing woodworking. To be honest, you're going to use the flathead the most when you're disassembling your plane, or if you're working on really old furniture, you could still find flathead screws on those. But to be honest, most modern day screws are going to use the Phillips. That's probably going to be your go-to. You can go out and buy a large set of screwdrivers. That's fine. I've got tons of them, right? But for basic woodworking, really all we're doing is putting some screws in the back of furniture or something, or joining two pieces together with some screws from time to time. This is all you're gonna really need to get you going. You can use like impact guns and things to drive, drill drivers and things to put screws in. However, we're kind of going the traditional route, so we're not using power, so to speak, but we kind of will be. You'll see that in a little bit.
Spoilers.
But to be honest, just drive them in by hand. Most of them you're only screwing in a little ways anyway. You don't need that real hard impact for the kind of projects that we're building. Basically, all it is, it gives you the shaft that goes inside the handle, and then you can flip it around back and forth with the various bits. Everything you need right here, one compact screwdriver will fit in our toolbox easy, and we'll always be ready for taking screws in or out. Next up, we don't really have a great way to sharpen our hand plane or our chisels and things. I do have a video on diamond plates that you can buy through Amazon, and we build this whole sharpening system that I did show in the plane tuning video. However, maybe you don't want to go and spend those on those diamond plates yet. They were fairly inexpensive, I think under $20. But if you even want to go cheaper than that, it is possible. Harbor Freight sells two different types of sharpening stones. They do have a cube that is actual diamond plates, and I think the cost was maybe $12 or $13 or something. I'll put it here. However, I didn't go with that because the finest grit they had was only 600 grit. And for my sharpening system, we use 600 grit just for like roughing it out. So I didn't feel like I could have gotten the really fine-tuned, refined edge on that with 600 grit. Some people out there will be like, hey, 600 grit's all you need. To me, I like to go at least up to 1200. I wanted to show this as another option. So the second option they have is just a whetstone like this. So this is a sharpening stone, a combination sharpening stone. It has a coarse side of it and a fine side. It doesn't say what grit it is. It's just medium and fine grit. But it does give you a medium side for kind of roughing out and really getting those edges down to perfect uniformity across, the quick grit them down to sharpness, and then you can refine them with the fine side. Harbor Freight does not sell any type of strap. However, you can use an old belt, piece of leather from an old jacket or something, or a bag or something that you don't use anymore, cut a piece of strip off if it's got the soft side inside of it, charge it up with some polishing compound, you're good to go. But this is a great entry level. This is what I started with sharpening my tools. I started with something like this. This is $2.99 at Harbor Freight. It's dirt cheap, so you can either use oil on these stones or you can use water. I get a little tiny like tote from the dollar store, like a shoe tote kind of thing, fill it up with water a little bit and just set that in there. Set it in there for like an hour or so before. I leave mine in all the time. Unless it starts to get freezing, then I'll drain the water out. But essentially, you just keep it wet, pull it out, and then you can put it on like a piece of, you know, that grippy shelf liner stuff that you can get at like the dollar store or something for your cabinets. Get a piece of that, lay it down on your bench, put that on top, and you'll sharpen it. It won't move anywhere. And then occasionally sprinkle some more water on it just to keep the top kind of lubricated, and it'll make that slurry as you're polishing to help really grind and polish and hone that edge good. Yes, these are man-made kind of stones, and they do require some maintenance from time to time. Probably every 10 sharpenings or so, take a piece of glass or an old floor tile or something, put some sandpaper down on it and rest that down and kind of run it across there and kind of flatten that surface back out. You'll notice as you're using your blades and sharpening with this a lot, that you'll start to get kind of a little divot in the middle. It's not what you want. You want to have a nice flat surface all the time. So these require a little bit of tune up every now and then. So for today, this is the Gordon combination sharpening stone. So in woodworking, we need a way to drill holes. There's a couple different options for non-power tool ways to drill holes, one of which is a bit and brace. This is the brace. The bit is the kind of bit that goes in the end that actually cuts the hole, right? But this essentially is an old school way. You would take it and rotate this and it would turn the bit on the end and it would auger its way through a piece of wood. Now another option, if you're just doing small pilot holes or like maybe we'll say 1/4 inch and lower size holes, they do have this egg beater style drill as well. So this, you essentially is just a big gear and you turn it and it turns the drill chuck just like you would a power drill, but you are the power in it, right? However, we're in a beginner series right now and we're trying to find new tools to really help us through our project. So I had to break down and get a power tool. I went to Harbor Freight and I got the Warrior 12 volt 3/8 inch cordless drill driver. This is pretty much the most basic drill you can get at Harbor Freight. I bought this one for $14.99. This was under $20 for sure. I believe it was $14.99 I spent for this drill. Now, you're not gonna probably get anything crazy with this. I wouldn't give this huge expectations, But if we're just drilling a few pilot holes in the back of something, or we're drilling a hole to make, you know, a way for a doorknob or something else, you know, a cabinet knob or something, this is going to be all we need. This will be perfect. And it does introduce some power into our traditional woodworking, but this is modern day traditional woodworking, right? I'm pretty sure if people 300 years ago could have used a power drill, they would have, right? It's modern day. Just go with it, okay? Between the tools we got before and the new tools you see here before you, I think we have everything we need to really start building some more complex projects other than our toolbox right now. If you like this type of content, let me know by subscribing down below, clicking the bell. Give me a thumbs up on this video, share it out, comment down below, what did I miss? I'm sure I've missed something, and I rely on you guys to help me out with that. What did I miss? What don't I have in this kit? Do we need it? Remember, this is a real basic beginner's toolkit. There are a wide variety of planes and specialized chisels and all types of woodworking tools that we could get, but we're doing basic entry-level woodworking projects here, so I'm trying to keep this as simple as possible. Let me know down below though, if you like this type of content, subscribe down below, give me a thumbs up, share it out, do all that stuff I just said. I will see you on the next one.